Every single weekday, sometime between 1 and 2 p.m., we release our daily Central Indiana scoreboard show. It's an ESPN Radio Sports Center style podcast that highlights professional college and high school sports in Central Indiana, again, between 1 and 2 p.m. every weekday. What you are listening to now is the Central Indiana Sports Reports podcast number 265.3, our NFL schedule release special, with our Colts guy Eli Edwards, our pro sports guy Will Rutherford, and our Swiss Army knife and my former boss Mike Hutsell. We break down the Colts 2025 schedule and we go week by week highlighting the best and worst games of every weekend with a lot of humor.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengelt.
Welcome, NFL fans, to the Central Indiana Sports Report. Tonight is the night we learned the opponents and the dates of all of the NFL games, including your Indianapolis Colts. And here I have our Colts guy, Eli Edwards, our pro sports guy, Will Rutherford, and I guess our NFL guy by default right now. We're working on that. Is Mike Hutsell, my former boss at the News and Tribune, best boss I ever had in my life.
Let's just go with Swiss Army knife, Greg.
He's our Swiss Army knife. He can do it all.
I am.
We would normally start with Eli because he's our Colts guy, but since we have a fan of the Philadelphia Eagles who will be opening up the season this year, Mike Hutsell, I give you the floor to talk about what looks like a very tough Philadelphia Eagles schedule.
Flight booked, hotel booked. I will be week 1 in for the second time for a banner ceremony at the link. So looking very excited, looking very forward to that. Not a fun schedule. Every NFC playoff team from last year is on the Eagles schedule this year, and 4 of the 7 from the AFC are on the Eagles schedule this year. And it's not like Kansas City, Buffalo. They didn't get Pittsburgh and Houston. No back-to-back home games. Very unique. Yeah, the NFL thankfully hasn't figured out how to put a Tuesday or Wednesday game on the schedule because that's the only 2 days the Eagles don't play this year. They play Monday night, Thursday night, Friday, Black Friday, Saturday games, and Sunday. It's going to be a daunting challenge. Thankfully, they've got a roster for it, but it's hard as heck to repeat. That's been proven through the years, and this is part of the reason why you play the best the following year. So won't delve too far into that on the Central Indiana Sports Report, but go Birds.
Looking at the Colts schedule here for the Central Indiana Sports Report, the Colts have 3 back-to-back home games, so that kind of tells you how tough that Eagles schedule is. By the way, their home schedule is particularly tough. Their road schedule, Mike, is a little easier, but that's going to be a tough slate. All right, Colts start their regular season at home against the Miami Dolphins, the team of producer Susie and the former team of Eli Edwards, since he's now clearly a Colts guy, right, Eli?
Yeah, definitely. Got Dan Marino with me watching today.
Grew up a Dan Marino fan, so a Dolphins fan, but now all of his focus is on the Colts. And week 2, September 14th at home again. So first 2 at home against the Denver Broncos. Then they're at the Titans and at the Rams. Raiders at home. Cardinals at home. At the Chargers. Their second trip to Los Angeles in the first 7 weeks. Then they host the Titans. They start November in Pittsburgh. They're at home against the Falcons on November 9th before a bye week. Then they host the 3-time reigning AFC champion Chiefs on November 23rd. And on Thanksgiving weekend, they host the Houston Texans. They start December with their their game in Jacksonville on December 7th. December 14th, they are in Seattle. That's a potential weather game there. Week 16 is December 22nd, and it's their only primetime game. Every other game's at 1 or 4, and that's at home against the San Francisco 49ers. Week 17 is December 28th at home against Jacksonville, and they close the season either on Saturday or Sunday, the first one in January, at Houston, and all an interdivisional week in Week 18 where they all division games.
Now you're gonna think I'm biased here. I'll start with week 1. I'm gonna say originally we had said that we think that the Colts are gonna take him down, but I'm gonna give Mike McDaniel his credit. He's pretty unpredictable to start the year. I don't think he's lost a week 1 game so far. So the Dolphins' offense is just weird, and I think, man, I don't know. I think I would take the Dolphins for this week 1 game over the Colts, but I don't know. It goes either way. The Colts have beat the Dolphins however many times in a row, so I wouldn't be surprised if the Colts ended up beating them. But the Dolphins' offense is tricky to game plan for.
A lot of toss-up games in there for the Colts.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, before I get to you, I should say that November 9th, of course, is in Berlin at Olympic Stadium, 9:30 a.m. on the NFL Network. I didn't mention that one. Your thoughts on the Colts schedule?
Not a good schedule for a coach and general manager that are in the hot seat, because this is a tough schedule. I don't know what it's going to end up being, but this is going to be a top 10-8 schedule probably in the league. I think when it's all said and done, the NFC West will be, all of those teams will be competent. That's a 500 division where nobody will jump out and they'll all kind of shuffle around. The AFC West is the best division probably in football. Outside of, I don't know, you could make an argument the AFC North. They're down the stretch. It's rough to go Chiefs, Texans, Jags, Seahawks, Niners, Jags, Texans in your last 7 weeks is not advantageous for any slow start. If they lose week 1, they have no chance of making the playoffs. They got to win week 1.
You got to win all the toss-up games essentially to be a playoff team, right?
I think they got to win
because there are 6 losses automatically on that schedule.
This is probably maybe the toughest, I guess, preseason before a down of football has been played schedule I've probably seen the Colts have in my time of acknowledging what the schedule is.
So the season begins Thursday, September 4th, and now we're in Mike Hutsell's wheelhouse again. Dallas is in Philadelphia. He just said he's going to be there. That's on NBC and Peacock. There's also a Friday game that they've started doing this year in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and that's the Chiefs at the Chargers because it went so well last year, right? I know.
Oh, it was a lovely, lovely experience down there.
Yeah,
beautiful. Playing field was in immaculate shape. It almost cost Jordan Love his season. Just let's keep running that back, NFL.
Brazil's a dump. Why are they getting any games? I mean, this is a shitty third world country we're just giving our week 1 game to. I just don't get it. It's not like you're not turning that country into a football country. That is a soccer country.
The weirdest
it's just
thing,
stupid.
At least this year they corrected one mistake because last year it was Philadelphia and Green Bay. And then they decided, it was announced, oh yeah, there's a lot of gangs in Brazil that are affiliated with the color green, so you shouldn't be wearing the team colors if you come down here, by the way. And don't leave the hotel. That's just in general. A.J. Brown, I remember saying, I don't ever want to do that again. We couldn't leave our rooms. I understand they're trying to globalize things, but this Brazil thing is just, it's like they're just trying to make it happen, and it just doesn't seem like a good idea.
I wouldn't give Brazil a United States sporting event ever again. I mean, they shouldn't have UFC. It's just a dump. The fans are awful. They go and create mass chaos in any sporting event. I just think this is just a colossal NFL just mismanagement, and it shouldn't happen week 1 in a division matchup that could ultimately decide the division between the Chargers and the Chiefs.
It did seem, with the amount of games in Europe and the way that they did the schedule, at doubling up on Monday Night Football games. We'll get to that 4 times this season. Player safety is not the highest priority of the NFL.
I have a theory on the doubling up of Monday night games, by the way, and it goes back to something I said in my opening statement. I think that's something that they're going to explore doing more and more so that they can put 2 teams on the field on Tuesday and then give them Monday nights the following week. And so they have the full allotment of rest days that they would get if they played on a Monday, Sunday. I think that's just the first step towards them figuring out how they're going to shoehorn a game into Tuesday.
The first Sunday night football game is a good one. The Ravens will be in Buffalo, I believe the best 2 teams in the AFC. If the Chiefs fall off like I expect, but like I said, they got Andy Reid, they got Patrick Mahomes, they got a chance. Also in week 1, we'll just go over the whole schedule. For week 1, the Raiders are at the Patriots, the Steelers at the Jets. That could be interesting, depending on what happens later in this offseason. The Cardinals are in New Orleans. The Giants go to Washington. Carolina's in Jacksonville. Not a lot of great games the first week. Bengals and Browns, interesting. Buccaneers go to Atlanta in what is probably a preview of the best 2 teams in that division. The Titans are in Denver. 49ers go to Seattle. Detroit at Green Bay at 4:25 at Lambeau Field in week 1 is a good one. Texans at Rams. Ravens at Bills, like I said, on the Sunday night game. What jumps out to you guys?
Detroit avoids another potential cold weather game, even though they play in the NFC North. They spent their whole season last year indoors and didn't really play a bad weather game until Chicago, I think, late in the season. And they're going to get Green Bay out of the way in September. So Dan Campbell must have some voodoo magic go working in Goodell's office, because they seem to be really taking care of that Lions team, trying to build that up. I think they really, really want to see a Lions-Bills Super Bowl, just because, the ECW parking lot brawl that would take place if that happened. So yeah, good to see that Detroit's getting another potential cold weather game out of the way early.
Week 2, just going through some of the primetime games here. Washington and Green Bay, good one. Should be a good one in the first Thursday night game. Mike Hutsell will not be attending. It'll be Washington and Green Bay. The first time we have 2 Monday night football games is week 2, Tampa against Houston, the Chargers against the Raiders. Eli, week 3, Bills and Dolphins are on Thursday night football. Good luck to your Dolphins and that one. Good luck, Susie, to your Dolphins. And how about week 3, Monday Night Football, Lions and Ravens? All right, week 3. I'm just going to go through the schedule, guys, here. If anything jumps out at you, feel free to jump in and say. Again, Eli, how do you feel about the Dolphins' chances against the Bills in week 3 in Buffalo?
They don't have one. The Dolphins are terrible against the Bills. I think I've only seen them beat the Bills one time in the Tua era, and it was a lucky game that they should have lost. The clock ran out somehow when they were supposed to. The Bills were in field goal range for the win, and it hasn't even been close since. Actually, the last time the Dolphins that was close, I remember, it was 2 years ago. Dolphins were supposed to win the division that year. They had like a 4-game lead with 4 games to go or 5 games to go, and they ended up blowing it because they had to beat Buffalo in Miami and couldn't get it done. So I have zero faith in anybody on the Dolphins to beat the Bills, probably even once. And it's just going to be another year of heartbreak for me. But no shock. It's just I care too much for no reason. So they're not going to get it done.
Over under week 6. This is going to sound morbid. Over under week 6 before Tua has to miss multiple games.
Yeah.
He won't make it to week 6. He will
not make it to week 6. Okay.
I'll take the over, but I wouldn't be confident in that pick.
What?
I said I'll take the over, that it'll be later than week 6, but I wouldn't be confident in that pick.
I mean, that's a bad break on the Colts schedule, because Tua's going to be healthy week 1.
That's right.
If you play the Dolphins in week 11, you could be playing. Skylar Thompson's gone. I don't know who their backup is now. Teddy Bridgewater is retired.
Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson and
Wilson.
Stewart.
Okay. Zach Wilson in South Beach with all those Cougars, man.
Yeah. He'll have a heyday.
That's just asking for trouble right there.
It is. Oh, the Dolphins do get to go to Buffalo in September, so that's a good thing.
Yes, that's true.
Sunday Night Football, Week 3, Chiefs and Giants. By the way, the Chiefs are on primetime the most, 6 times.
Whoa. I didn't look that far. They put the New York Giants in primetime.
A Sunday Night Football game against the Chiefs in Week 3.
Oh, my gosh. Okay. Whatever. Jackson Dart, baby. Let's get me fired up.
I will get you fired up for the next game. Monday Night Football in Week 3 is the Lions in Baltimore.
That's a heck of a game. But again, Week 3, outdoor game. Could have been a potential weather game down the road for Detroit, but they're going in September to Baltimore instead of December. Have I mentioned that I'm really starting to get annoyed with the Lions?
I've started to get that idea.
I was going to say,
what did they do to you?
They just, they came out of nowhere. They're based in Michigan, but they played like 113 home indoor games last year somehow. And then, they're the trendy, better than the Eagles pick every year for the last 3 years, and they couldn't even get it done against the commies.
Now,
I'm so sick of every like middle-aged housewife who has a crush on Dan Campbell for some reason. Everybody I know's wife loves Dan Campbell, and I don't get it.
Now, I would predict that the Lions recede a little bit this season since they lost their OC and DC. Is that a crazy thing to think?
Oh, I think you're absolutely right. I was really, really hoping for that Eagles-Lions Week 1 Thursday night game because they are breaking in those two, positions for the first time, especially the OC. Ben Johnson, I think, is really, really, really good. The fact that he's in Chicago now is probably going to haunt Detroit for a long time. And what Chicago's building around him is even scarier. So I do see a little bit of a backslide, but, everybody's, lonely housewife's favorite coach is still there, Dan Campbell. So let's see what happens.
They're still going to make the playoffs. They just have too much talent. I mean, they just have too much talent. I don't think the drop-off's going to be... They might lose a couple more games. I mean, they might be 13-4 versus, what were they, 15-2? I mean, it might be a couple more games. I think Jared Goff is really good. I think he's good. And with their talent, I believe their offensive coordinator that they hired came in-house, so I would imagine that offensively, I don't think a ton's going to change. But I don't know. They're just a buzzsaw, and they may just be a regular season team where they're really good in the regular season, and then they don't, they sputter out. But I think that with the amount of talent they have, they're kind of inevitable. A little at some point, they're gonna, figure it out. Similar to the Bills, I think the Bills and the Lions are like the brothers of the NFL, where they're literally in the same exact spot. They have all the talent. It's just catching a break to get to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lions are so good on the O-line, and with Gibbs being as explosive as he is, I really think he started to become just a weapon last year, and he can have like a Saquon Barkley type effect this year as he enters his third year. So you're probably right. I mean, there's not going to be a huge drop-off there. I do think Ben Johnson is a loss, but they have stacked that offense to be something special.
They also have it. They have an alpha one receiver, and I think that always helps with offensive transition a little bit from OC to OC. Like Amon-Ra's getting 12, 13 targets a game. I mean, you just chalk it up. It's going to happen. And when I think, you've got JMO outside who is going to, take that top of the defense off. I mean, Laporta kind of fell off a little bit last year from the crazy rookie year, but he's still a vertical threat at the tight end position too. I don't know. I get the dislike. It does kind of seem like the past couple of years that it's they've fallen on God's hands a little bit, but I still think that they'll end up winning the division. Honestly, I mean, I think the Packers can, but I think the Lions will.
Well, while we're talking about that division, I was going to ask, how do you guys feel about J.J. McCarthy? I know he hasn't played yet, but one of the most overrated quarterbacks. That dude handed the ball off every play. I don't know. I hate Michigan, but dude, and he looks a little. I can't say that. He looks a little. I don't know. I want to know what you guys think. Is he capable of being? I know he's got a great situation, a loaded offense to play with Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Hawkinson. Who's the running back? Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones, yeah.
Do they stand a chance in that division with him?
I'm with you. They're essentially handing the keys to a rookie. He didn't play last year. I like his pedigree. He played for a really good quarterback coach in college, even though he wasn't the focal part of the passing game wasn't the focal part of that offense. But, Harbaugh does have sort of a QB whisperer type reputation. But I'm not ready to put them on a pedestal above Detroit. Green Bay, I think they're evenly matched with Green Bay. And I really think Chicago is dangerous. They're not going to win that division, but I think they're going to sneak up and win more games than you're used to seeing. So while that conference produced, that division produced 3 playoff teams last year, if Chicago can knock off, 2 or 3 wins off of some of those teams' win totals, that could ultimately impact how many teams in that division make the playoffs.
Absolutely. And by the way, Vikings Bears week 1 Monday Night Football. I don't think I mentioned that.
If McCarthy's worth anything, the Vikings are going to be just fine. I mean, they've done it with Dobbs and Nick Mullins and still almost made the playoffs. I think McCarthy, I would say, even as a rookie, is going to be an upgrade over either one of those two. They're going to be fine. And Brian Flores is still their DC. It's going to be the same defensive system now. Bynum's gone, so that I think the safety playing center field definitely makes a difference. But I think the Bears are still going to suck. They're building an air raid offense to play in Chicago, and it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. And I know that their offensive line's gotten better, I'm sure, but until they get that dome, I just don't think that until they recognize what they are, they're going to be middle of the pack in a division that is incredible. Really, the other 3 teams are all top 3 seeds if they weren't in the NFC North.
Speaking of the quarterback situation, hold on, let me do that again. Week 4 on Thursday Night Football, we have Seattle against Arizona. The first time we're going to get to see Seattle's new quarterback. Anybody believe that that's going to work out? I just don't. I just don't see that at all. Seattle usually knows what it's doing as a franchise. I just did not see that. Am I wrong about Sam Darnold?
No.
Sam Darnold was good until the last 2 weeks of the season. I mean, we were all talking.
But again, you talk about the situation with the Vikings. It's not that tough of a job.
It's an easier division for sure. I mean, I think that if they defensively, if they can keep teams under 20, I think, yeah, I mean, he's okay. I mean, they've got 2 good running backs in Walker and Charbonnet if they're healthy. If their offensive line's fine, they've got Smith and Jigba. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that they're going to be like contenders, but they are in a weak NFC are a team that could be 9-8 and make the playoffs.
And the Cardinals, pretty high expectations out there for them.
Yes, they should be good. They're my pick to win the division. If Kyler can learn to throw to Marvin Harrison Jr. and not be a check down merchant, then I believe that they can reach as high as a divisional game, sneak into a conference championship. They have no business being. Their defense is going to be better. Will Johnson was a steal in the second round if he's healthy. He's a top 10 talent in this year's draft class. They got him in the middle of the second round. So yeah, I think they're going to be fine.
In order for me to say anything nice about Arizona, I have to be nice to Jonathan Gannon, and I'm not capable of doing that after the Super Bowl 2 years ago. So I'm going to move on.
By the way, the offensive line coach for the Arizona Cardinals from Elwood, Indiana. Just a little tidbit there. Sunday Night Football in Week 4 is the Packers and Cowboys. The Cowboys are on way too much primetime football for what they were last year. One of the least entertaining teams in the NFL.
I love the meme that went around. I don't know if anybody else saw it when the George Pickens trade was announced. It was George Pickens went from not having anyone to throw in the ball to not having anyone to throw in the ball at 4:25 every Sunday on Fox.
His situation has changed.
I'll be the Antichrist here, but the Cowboys are going to be okay. Dak's an exciting quarterback to watch most weeks. He's better than the alternative. If he's healthy, they have a chance. You can hate the guy all you want, but he does sling the pill around. And now that they've got CD and they've got a couple capable tight ends, and you add George Pickens, and you hope he's not getting into physical altercations 40 yards down the field, but their offense can be exciting.
The Cowboys have no excuse to not be good. I think they're pretty stacked, especially now with Pickens. So they're very
weapons, but are they that? I said they're stacked with weapons. They've got a couple of pretty good defensive players, but that defense was just awful last year. The offense wasn't much better.
The Eagles are still a crash out away from
complete
destruction, and it went perfect. They got their Super Bowl. But there's a lot of egos on that team too, and Sirianni's an ego in himself. He's plays that role and character even as their coach. It was great, but I wouldn't be shocked to see that streak continue with the Commanders win the division. That team, they have no excuse. That team is stacked from top to bottom to be excellent. And does the NFL have something where they get more money under the table from Goodell if they just trade all pro players to the Commanders for 10 push-ups, Washington for nothing? For nothing. We're going to give Laramie Tunsil up for like a 4th round pick and Debo for a 3rd. Are you shitting me? What is it? Is it a conspiracy that I'm not aware of?
Well, like everything else, we just blame Trump and move on.
That's right. And then, Eli, how do you feel about the Dolphins on primetime? Again, 2 times in the first 4 weeks against the Jets and your guy Justin Fields on September 29th. The first of 2 Monday Night Football games, followed by the Bengals and Broncos, which could be a good one.
If the Dolphins can't beat the Jets, then they might as well not be having the season, because you have no shot of making the playoffs if you can't beat the Jets. The Jets will never be good. In my eyes, I can't ever see the Jets being good. So I think they'll be okay. The Jets still suck. I hope Fields does do good, but actually that offense is pretty dang juiced too.
What's the latest on the Tyreek situation? Is he still ready to bolt, or what's going on?
He's in the news so much. You'll probably hear something about him.
I know Mother's Day was probably a very busy day for him on Sunday.
Yeah.
My God. Come on, man.
Dude, he's got a lot of mamas out there, man.
Well, it actually was probably a pretty chill day for him. All of his 14 kids were with 15 different moms, so he probably had a day off. He probably just went to South Beach and said, screw it, we'll have me a day. And he might have been conceiving baby 16.
That's going to say,
having the Mother's Day off.
He is gonna rake it in on Father's Day next month, man. John Kemp level performance there, guys.
Three primetime games in week 5. Thursday night is the 49ers and Rams, which used to be a really good rivalry. Sunday night football, Patriots and Bills. I think we expect a little more from the Patriots this year is the guess. And on Monday night football, the Chiefs and Will's Jacksonville Jaguars. You going to pick them to win 11 games again this year, Will? You got most of your picks right last year.
If we're just shooting, the AFC South's up in the air. Jacksonville, they could win 11 games. They could. The Texans could win 11 games. The Titans could win 11 games. Any of these teams, I think, with competent play all around the board, could potentially do so. I think it's going to be 10-7 and whatever. I'm going to say week 18 between. I think the Colts play the Texans and the Jags would play the Titans. I think that one way or another, that game's going to probably be for the division and a playoff berth.
The Jaguars are the Jaguars, and they'll probably be horrible like always. It's just my guess.
I mean, they were in 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Don't give up on T-Law. Everybody hates Trevor Lawrence.
I'm a T-Law guy forever. I love him. I'm not giving up on him. If Liam Cohen is this offensive guru whisperer, why? Jacksonville's got talent. They've got guys. If their offensive line can keep Lawrence upright, why can't they be good?
The weapons are there. You talk about weapons, Brian Thomas and now Travis Hunter. Who's the running back there? Is it still ETN?
The running backs are weak.
Look at what Liam Cohen accomplished with Baker. He righted that career, and if he can do that with Baker Mayfield, Trevor Lawrence is probably a better quarterback than Baker Mayfield is.
Probably.
I think they got the right guy in house there.
Lawrence has top 5 talent. The skill is that you see it. He oozes talent all over the throw. He's probably the best deep ball thrower in the league. If his accuracy improves, he can move. He's huge. He's 6'6", 6'7" with cleats on. If he stays upright and his pocket presence gets a little better and he can be accurate, that team can be good. They'll go as far as he goes. It's similar to the Colts. If Richardson's worth a damn, then the Colts will be good. I think they're kind of all of those teams are they're if their quarterback play is above average, top 10 in the league, any of those teams can be good.
Hey, Mike, week 6, Thursday night football, the Eagles play the Giants. How terrified are you of the new revamped Giants pass rush?
They've obviously improved. I can't slam the Giants as much as I normally do, but I'm gonna. That team picks in the same. I'm not a Dable guy. I think he's kind of on a dead man walking. The offense just doesn't frighten me. They got the Purdue kid at running back who flashed a little bit last year. Their O-line still is a question mark to me. I'm not a Jackson Dart guy. If that's the direction they decide to go, they may stick with Russ this year. Who knows? I'm not in that division with the teams in that division. I think that they're just barreling towards another top 5 pick, and then maybe they could convince, I don't know, Arch or Klubnik or whatever from Clemson. I don't know. But I'm not. This sounds to. I'm just not. I'm not sold. I think that's of all the games on the Eagles' schedule, those were the first 2 I looked for because I wanted to see 2 wins. And
who's the next great pass rusher they can draft next year with their top 5 pick? It seems like that's what they do every year.
A really good question. They don't have to replace Abdul Carter for another 4 years. They're replacing Thibodeau essentially with Abdul Carter. So Carter will go play through his rookie deal, and then whoever is in high school right now,
right,
and will be draft eligible in about 5 years, we'll know then.
Poor Giants, right, guys? They're just going to take a lot of beatings. Russell Wilson must be.
They do it to themselves. I mean, they continuously shit the bed whenever it matters, so I don't feel bad for them.
Sunday Night Football in Week 6 is the Lions and Chiefs. That should be a really good one. And then 2 Monday Night Football games, the Bears and Washington, and then the Bills and Falcons. Guys, Falcons, we believe they could win the South?
No.
Maybe. That just sucks.
Great point. That was a great point, Will. Thank you.
He's very, very to the point and direct. I can't say I disagree with anything he said.
Tampa Bay is the best team in that division. They're going to win the division. Atlanta sucks. Penix is, we're just throwing darts at the board. They say, oh, look at that arm talent. Look at this. Look at that. He looked okay. He didn't jump off the page and scream, this is a franchise quarterback. He was, and that's just a poorly run organization too. I mean, they always just make the wrong pick. I mean, all the time. The fact that they signed Kirk Cousins for a 4-year, $160 million deal and then draft a quarterback with the 8th pick, that's just, the football gods aren't going to reward dipshittery like that.
Which sucks because Bijan could be very, very special player. And same thing with Drake London, but I think they're going to wallow away in purgatory down there in Atlanta. I don't disagree with anything Will added. It's just it's a really weirdly run franchise. And Arthur Blank is a really, really weird looking individual.
Yeah.
You know that dude has like an oil painting of himself somewhere in the house.
This is the Panthers' year. They're going to finally rise up. I don't actually mean that. It's probably not going to happen. But Bryce Young.
Are they on the primetime schedule at all? The Panthers.
If they got
the
Cowboys O-line, Bryce Young might have a pretty good year. I think he's actually pretty dang good, and nobody gives him credit. But he's got potential. Bryce Young has potential. Mark my words, in 5 years when he's on a different team that also sucks, and he has like a breakout year, kind of like how Sam Darnold did this year, that no one expects.
This moment.
Yep, that's right.
So we can all sit here and agree as a tandem, and this will be the only mention of this team we probably have in this entire podcast. The Saints are going to pick number 1 overall next year, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very likely.
Yeah.
I mean, when you lose Derek Carr and it like greatly, drastically downgrades your quarterback room, that's not a good sign.
Not a good sign.
I hope he told, like, they knew he was going to retire before the draft and didn't wait till after the draft to retire. Because that's a dickhead move if he did do that, like the way it kind of seems. Because there's no way that dude from Louisville was who they would have drafted. Like, right? There's no way.
I think that they did what they wanted. They took the most. I don't know. He's not going to be awful. He's probably going to be just as good as Derek Carr was. I mean, he can throw the football. They were going to be 3-14 with Carr, and they might be 2-15 without him. I mean, it doesn't move the needle.
Well, they have to know too if they absolutely suck and he wants to come out. It's kind of a storybook for Arch Manning to go play where his grandpa played. So that's got to be in the back of their mind somewhere as they go into the season. Nobody's going to tell you, "Oh, we're not going to try," but they're probably. And I feel bad for Kellen Moore for making that his first NFL job, but head coaching job. But that team's going to be bad. I just can't see any other way. So they might be playing, whatever you want to call, whatever rhyme you can come up with for Arch, go for it. Somehow Tyler Shuck, Alvin Kamara has been in the league for 14 years at this point, and Tyler Shuck is still older than him.
That's right. He really is.
The guy backed up Justin Herbert at Oregon. Justin Herbert didn't just enter the league last year.
No, he did not.
Herbert's on a second contract.
Yeah. I mean, Shuck had 7 chances to be healthy in college, and he did it once. That's the other red flag with that kid. Injuries have plagued him through, almost a decade in college. So we'll see when he's taking NFL hits if he can hold up. I don't see it, but again, they're playing for Arch.
Hey, week 7, this one's going to be fun. Let's get your opinions on these two teams because I bet they're wide ranging. The Steelers and Bengals on Thursday Night Football. Either one of those teams going to be any good? I know how Will feels about the Steelers.
I mean, the Bengals will have a great offense, maybe the best in the league. Is that too far to? Is that saying too much? Is that too far to go with that?
I think you can take
I think it's too far, but it's their top 5, probably.
I mean, I like Chase Brown. I like what he's added to the running back room. Higgins and Chase, or Higgins and Chase. Burrow to me is top 3, top 4. What's Jasicki? Is he still there for their tight end? I mean, great offense, but now Trey Hendrickson doesn't want anything to do with the organization, it seems like, and they were already pathetic on defense, so I don't know how they're going to overcome that.
They'll have to score 45 a game. I mean, they'll just have to. It'll be a shootout, just like it was last year. And I mean, you just hope that you're on the. It's a shame because Joe Burrow's so good. I really like. I think that Joe Burrow is maybe Josh Allen's the only quarterback that I'd probably take right now over Joe Burrow. If we're just talking about skill of playing the quarterback position, I mean, he's phenomenal.
And, of course, the Steelers don't have a quarterback. What's going to happen there? It's just a matter of time for Rodgers.
Oh, dude, I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but man, week, is it 9? Daniel Jones versus Mason Rudolph in Pittsburgh. Oh, my goodness. How that's not primetime, it'll be flexed. It has to be flexed to like Thursday morning at 9:30 a.m.
If that's what it is, then the Colts might be in that same conversation for Arch Manning. I mean, seriously, if
let's do it.
If week 9 Daniel Jones is the starting quarterback for the Colts, I've stopped watching already. That's just be a shame.
This is where the NFL needs a draft lottery, because imagine like the 3 worst teams in the league next year are the Saints, the Giants, and the Colts. Arch Manning, which one of your family members do you want to go replace? Let's do a draft lottery and figure out who's going to get Arch. Is it going to be Peyton? Is it going to be Eli? Or is it going to be Grandpa?
The Colts will still win. The Colts floor is 8 games. They'll win 8 games because that's just what the Colts do.
With Daniel Jones, their floor is 8 games.
Sure. He's just as good as Joe Flacco was. Just as good as Joe Flacco was. It absolutely is. It absolutely is. You know it because they'll never be bad enough the way this roster is constructed to lose enough games to have the number 1 pick. They just won't. It's just not going to happen. They'll be 8-9 and they'll pick 15th for the millionth time.
They do that every year, every single year.
I could see this team going 3-14.
I don't know what the Vegas win total is, but if Vegas was smart, I'd put it at 9 games, not 8.5 games, because that would be a coin flip one way or another.
Is August 9th a state holiday yet? Because that's Chris Ballard Day, 8-9. Do we get that day off work at the state? I'm not sure.
I believe it's the state fair.
That's the state fair? Okay. So they're going to parade like every quarterback he's tried to replace Andrew Luck with during his tenure at the state fair this year. Carson Wentz.
Do not speak ill of Phil Rivers. Phil Rivers was really good with the Colts. I wish he'd come back for another year.
Speaking of raking it in on Father's Day.
I was going to say, speaking of another guy who's going to have a big Father's Day, but the weird thing with him is it's all the same person.
What?
I know. It's monogamy. It's the weirdest thing.
No, Daniel Jones isn't going to be the quarterback. It's going to be Riley Leonard.
Oh, my God. Riley Leonard's awful. He's awful. The fact that they even
Daniel Jones.
the fact they even wasted, well, because Quinn Ewers went to Miami. That's who will be starting Week 9 for Miami. Will be Quinn Ewers, and he'll be good. He'll be really good because he is an NFL. He's built to be an NFL quarterback. He has all the intangibles to be a good to great NFL quarterback. If you watch his tape, I mean, I don't remember who it was on the draft show that just continued to speak ill on him. He was pretty much the same quarterback for 3 years. He was good, won a lot of games, and he's going to be good in the NFL.
It was probably Mel Kiper because he's not Shedeur Sanders.
Are you saying that Quinn Ewers will be the quarterback because Tua's dead, or because he will replace Tua?
I don't know. Probably a Tua injury, although I'm not really a Tua believer either.
Whoa!
I think that he's just a walking hospital bill. He's whatever his copay is for his insurance is he hits a deductible every year.
Yeah, those Miami Dolphin team insurance premiums keep going up because of Tua's cat hands every year.
Eli says, "Oh, well, what the hell's Tua done? Absolutely nothing. Has Tua started a playoff game the Dolphins have been in?
I don't think so. But
It's
He got him.
yeah, the Chiefs game. The Chiefs game.
He played in the Kansas City frostbite game, right?
Hey, every year before Tua dies the first time, he leads the league in passing yards, and then he gets hurt. Okay,
because their offense. That has nothing. He throws it 10 yards and then Tyreek Hill
throw the ball
75 yards.
And his receivers to go get it.
I mean,
no, you're right. You're right.
I'm not. If he's your guy, hey, I'm not here. He's a competent quarterback. I mean, I wouldn't. He'd be a better option than probably the Colts have right now. I mean, if he's healthy, absolutely. But I just don't think he stays healthy. And I think Ewers takes over, and I don't know when the Dolphins can get out of the Tua deal, but if Ewers looks good, they'll do it. Because they're tired of paying him that much money to be, getting CTE every other week.
If they're as bad as Eli seems to think they could be in the Arch sweepstakes.
I think that is a team that is probably on that middling between winning. That roster's awful. They're in cap hell. They have no money to pay anybody. Their best players want to leave all the time. I mean, why Ramsey's not? Is Ramsey gone yet, or is he's going to be gone?
Sean McVay says that they're bringing him. It's all but said they're bringing him back to LA.
This is the Dolphins' year to win the Super Bowl. They're going to do it this year.
I like the optimism, man. Support your team.
You really think they're going to be that bad?
I think they can be that bad. They can. They were awful last year.
Producer Susie is a Dolphins fan. She just said in my ear that Eli is full of it. the Dolphins. It is much more likely that the Dolphins end up with the number 1 pick than a Super Bowl ring.
Well, what they'll do is the same thing we just said the Colts do. And they're not going to suck bad enough to get that good of a pick. They'll just win some and get like 15, 16 like they always do.
Yeah, they're picking that 12 to 16 sweet spot. That purgatory.
The difference is they're not like the Colts. They are way worse than the Colts are. I mean, like seriously, they are. No, they are. The Colts defense is going to keep them afloat. If the Colts
defense is going to be decent.
What they've let every good defensive player walk the last 3 years. I mean, unless they're just continue to shuffle in. I mean, no, they're going to be okay. They're going to be good enough to win 8 games.
Yep, they are not going to win a lot of games. I don't believe. Sorry, Eli. Sorry, Susie.
No, you're right. You're right.
The rest of Week 7, Sunday Night Football, Falcons, 49ers. 49ers situation is precarious. And then 2 Monday Night Football games on Week 7, Houston and Seattle. And Will's Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the Detroit Lions.
That looks like a really good night to catch up on Monday Night Raw.
Week 8, Thursday Night Football, Vikings and Chargers. The first time the Vikings are on prime time, and it's a Thursday night. Talk about some disrespect. Packers and Steelers on Sunday Night Football, and Washington and Kansas City. Man, Washington might have a really tough year with that schedule that they have.
It's the NFC East year to play the AFC West, which is not an easy task. Even I think the Raiders have a chance to be decent with bringing in Pete Carroll, bringing in Geno, having Ashton Genty there, Brock Bowers. We all know what he is. So, and then they double that up with I think they play the AFC East. So you got Buffalo. This is going to show up on your schedule. It's a tough year for that NFC East just because of the crossover of who they're playing. And then, Washington, the commies, whatever word I'm not allowed to say. They're that team that, probably outplayed what everybody thought they were going to be last year, and they're a trendy pick to be huge this year. And you just don't know how that team's going to respond. What if there's regret? I mean, we saw regression with C.J. Stroud from year 1 to year 2. What if the league starts to catch up a little bit with Jaden? But they are stacked. McLaurin is an absolute beast. I'm not as big a Debo as maybe some other people are. I think he's starting to be a little bit past his prime.
If you use him right, he can be great.
He's a very physical player, but that physical style, I think, has started to wear on him over the last few years. So he has a tendency to get dinged up. Zach Ertz is still their tight end, and he's about 57 at this point. So a very trendy pick, but like Greg said, with the schedule they have, they could run into it this year.
Week 9, Ravens and Dolphins. Man, Eli, the Dolphins get embarrassed a lot on national television this year. And then Seattle's in Washington. I always love that on Sunday Night Football. And the Cardinals and Cowboys, that's the Rod Tidwell game on Monday Night Football, November 3rd.
Dolphins always get blown out by the Ravens, so it's going to happen again. But that's all I got for that one. And it's not going to be close. It'll probably be a 60 bomb. It has been multiple times. When Flacco was still with the Ravens, I think they got beat. They played 2 years in a row, and I think they got beat by 60 both times.
Wasn't there a game a couple of years ago where Baltimore was up like 35-3, and Tua came back and they won like 41-38?
Yeah,
right.
Tua did. He had like
to go 5-0.
That was awesome. That broke my heart, man. I actually believed that year too, for some reason. Again, I do it every year. But then
they lost both their defensive ends, and that was the end for them.
Yep.
That year. But they started that season 5-0. They look like a contender. We started kind of started to believe a little bit in Tua.
And then he died, if you can believe that.
He died for the first time.
So far, the theme of this podcast seems to be a lot of Dolphins primetime games and a lot of Lions primetime games. Am I wrong in that assessment?
No, you are not. A lot of Washington too, which is understandable. Daniels is awful lot of fun to watch, even in those hideous uniforms. Week 10, Thursday Night Football, Raiders, Broncos. By the way, Raiders can't stand them. Most beautiful uniforms in all sports. Sunday Night Football, Steelers and Chargers. And then Monday Night Football, the Eagles and Packers. Maybe the two best teams in the NFC, Mike? Possibly?
I'm not there on Green Bay. I think they're good, don't get me wrong. And they finally upgraded at receiver, spent some capital there. But what's everybody's take on Jordan Love? He had that huge postseason a couple years ago, but he really regressed last year. Are we ready to really put money into, money down on DraftKings on Jordan Love this year? I'm not 100% there yet.
Him and Trevor Lawrence have had the exact same career up to this point, other than they have this breakout year where everybody's like, oh, this is a top 8, top 5 quarterback in the league potentially, and then injury ravaged next year. I don't think he was healthy. I still think he's good. because you just saw the glimpses. It looked too good to be not too good to be true. It looked good. It looked like it's supposed to look. I think if he's healthy, they keep him upright with the talent they have. Yeah, I'm a believer, I guess you could say.
Packers fans are the only people who really truly are full-hearted believe in him because they think all their quarterbacks are the next best thing. Like they say,
it's a given that their quarterback's going to be great.
And they really try to convince you. Like, be for real here. If you guys know a single Packers fan who has straight teeth or all their teeth, I don't know one. I swear I don't. And I think that really goes to show how intelligent they are. Will believes in Jordan Love a little bit, but
I believe. I'm not sure. But I believe.
And can I just say, if the football gods are real, that team will go 0-17 this year because they're the ones that are just the tush push. They're trying, it's not a football play and it's a player safety thing. And oh my God, somebody's going to get hurt. Shut up. You can't stop it. There's one team in the league that runs it and never gets stopped. Other teams try to run it and can't pull it off quite as effectively. But for some reason, because one team's really, really good at it, we got to get rid of it. It's dangerous. I mean, Matt LaFleur has to stand up there and pretend like he's not embarrassed by what his organization's doing and saying, it's not a football play, blah, blah, blah. Just football gods smite that team. Put mold on their cheese and make them just be a horrible football franchise for 1 year.
I'm not a big tush push guy myself. I don't really think it should be banned, but it's not a football play. It's not football. It's rugby. But I mean, I don't think it should be banned either because it's not like it's automatic. There's one team that does it really, really well, and I think that they should be rewarded for doing such, but it's not a football play.
But the Packers were running it in the playoffs, and they were using their tight end to run it, and they were succeeding with it. So I don't get it. I mean, if you can do it, do it. If you can't, if the Chiefs are afraid to do it because Mahomes got hurt a few years ago on a quarterback sneak, you don't ban it because you can't stop it.
I'm kind of indifferent. I'm 50-50. If it goes, probably good to get non-football plays out. If it stays, okay. I mean, they're good at it. I don't enjoy watching it. I don't think it's fun to watch. It's good for strategy for their offense. It makes them 1st and 9 every time they step on the field because they're so successful running it. But I mean, you're an Eagles fan. I think you're a little blinded. The rest of the NFL probably looks and says, "Hey, this play could go." It
used
could
to be
go
against the rules, and they made it not against the rules. And it used to be part of the assisting rule. You could not push one of your own teammates. So I don't see a problem with not going back to that.
Here's my thing. Stop trying to say it's a player safety thing. It's not. You can't stop it. That's what it is. Some teams gotten really, really good at something, and then we can't do anything about it. So we're just going to take it away. So
I don't understand why is it? I know it's not. It's definitely not fun to watch, but I kind of enjoy it because it's kind of like you just can't. You're just not strong enough. That's what I like about football a little bit. It shows you who the men are. So it's between can you stop it? Why can't you stop it? Because you're not as strong as these freaky huge O linemen, and then Saquon's big old legs pushing Hurts, who's also a freak muscularly, great athlete. Even though it is annoying, it's definitely annoying because it rarely doesn't work. But
especially when you have Saquon Barkley behind the line as another threat, then it's impossible.
Well, I do think it's interesting that now that they're talking about getting rid of it, the Eagles are the team saying we're going to bring the fullback back to the NFL.
Yeah, do it. Bring back fullback.
Hey, the Colts got a good one. If Riley Leonard's on the roster, they got a hell of a fullback.
All right, Will, you need to get going, or do you want to stick around for the last 6 weeks? Or all right, Will's got to get going. Mike and Eli, I'll take it from here. Appreciate you coming in.
Thanks,
Will,
guys.
we'll hear from you tomorrow.
Yep, good talking to you guys. Take care.
The NFL is treating us to a great Thursday night game in Week 11, the Jets against the Patriots. Can't wait for that one. Got that one circled on my calendar. But then November 16th, that Sunday night, is a really good one. The Lions are in Philadelphia. They don't get to avoid the weather there.
They're going to play on grass and a potential, drizzle or something. Will they know what to do?
They probably won't.
And if it's raining outside and Dan Campbell, hide Susie, man.
The Monday night game that week would have been sexy in 1978. The Cowboys and Raiders. Man, how great would that have been in 1978?
I wasn't even I wasn't even born yet, Greg. I know Eli wasn't. So you're the only one that could understand that reference in the room right now.
Thanks for that.
Everything that happened before 1979 was a mistake.
Week 12, the Bills are in Houston. I think the Texans might be pretty good.
I really like Buffalo.
Okay.
I think that this might be the year you see that franchise break through. Houston is. I like their coach. I like their quarterback. I like their receivers. But I like the draft picks, the capital they've invested on their defense. But I still think they may be about a year or two away. They're still kind of pups trying to work their way through it, and I think they'll get there. But I really feel like Buffalo could be dangerous this year.
Sunday Night Football in Week 12 is November 23rd. Buccaneers against the Rams, a rematch of the 1979 NFC Championship game. Mike, you remember that one?
I remember Matthew Stafford beating Tom Brady on the way to the Super Bowl more recently than 1979. So okay. I'll stick with that for my memory of this rivalry. And this year, I think could be another good one. Baker against Stafford. The Rams are a sneaky, dangerous team with the guys they have on that defense that they drafted last year. Watch out for that team. I think they got a chance to really be good this year.
And then Eli's Panthers, their only primetime game is against the 49ers on November 24th. Week 13 is Thanksgiving week, and we got some good ones for Thanksgiving this year. The Packers are in Detroit. The Chiefs, who Mike just said play on every holiday possible this year, are in Dallas, playing the team that usually plays on every holiday. And the Bengals are in Baltimore. That's three good ones for Thanksgiving. That's unusual.
That's a heck of a Thanksgiving this year. The league is not cutting corners on that one, and I think they finally moved that Lions game to 1:00, so it's not 12:30 anymore. It was a weird start time. That's 2 thumbs up to that one. Look forward to the Chiefs on July 4th playing the Tigers in Detroit for a doubleheader. That's gonna be neat.
Bengals Raven. That's a really, and then of course Friday, Mike. The Eagles
Black Friday. Eagles Bears Black Friday. Again, the Eagles play on every day they possibly play. It's a really weird schedule this year.
Sunday Night Football on Thanksgiving weekend is the Broncos and Washington, a rematch of the 1982 Super Bowl. And then the Monday Night Football game that week is December 1st, and that's the Giants and Patriots. That's a rematch of a couple really good Super Bowls too.
Wow, what an epic matchup.
I know. Monday Night Football this year is a treat. They are really treating us this year.
It's fallen off. It's Thursday and Monday are just kind of throwaway games, it seems like, anymore. It's all about Sunday night.
Trying to fill the obligation of every team getting a primetime game. That's what Thursdays and Mondays are for now. So the Chiefs and Eagles and Cowboys can play every
Sunday night, baby.
That's right. Week 14, December 14th, Thursday night, is the Cowboys and Lions. Really cool uniform game if you like silver and blue. Sunday Night Football is December 7th, Texans and Chiefs. Should be a good one. Monday Night Football, Eagles and Chargers. We haven't talked about the Chargers. Are they a contender, Eli?
Yeah. Yep. They are. I believe it to my core. That's the black horse team that everybody forgets about. And Herbert's going to finally have his breakout year. The hypotheticals are finally coming true for all the Chargers fans. The quarterback whisperer, Mr. Harbaugh, they're going to click. I really believe it. At least I want to believe it. I want them to finally dethrone the Chiefs in that division and get it done, because that team, Mike, I want to know what you know or what you think
of the Chargers. I'm a fan. I think that's a very dangerous team. They had Najee Harris running back room, and then they went and drafted Amarian Hampton in the first round from North Carolina. So they upgraded their running back position, which was already a strength last year. I'm there. I think they've got a really good defense. They got a good defensive coordinator. Harbaugh, to me, you can say what you want about him as a man, and a lot of people are going to say it. He is probably one of the most abrasive personalities to be around, and eventually he wears out his welcome. But when he's clicking, there's few coaches in the league that are better than him, and he's still early enough in his tenure that's a dangerous.
What he did with the 49ers in such a quick time was amazing. And I expect him to do it in year two. He did a phenomenal job, of course, last year, but they might be up there with Buffalo and Baltimore.
I'm 100% in agreement with you. He's got his brother-in-law, Tom Crean, to lean on whenever he needs to. Tom Crean, who has me blocked on Twitter for some reason, but, I digress.
I wonder why. I can't even imagine why. Week 15 is Tampa and Atlanta. I think probably the best two teams in that division. I think certainly the best two teams in that division. Sunday Night Football of the week, Vikings and Cowboys. You know, those two teams played each other 8 out of 9 years in the NFC Championship game once. And then on Monday Night Football, the Dolphins and Steelers. If Aaron Rodgers ends up with the Steelers, are they up there? If he's good?
No.
Nah, probably not.
I'm the only one who believes in the Steelers, huh?
No. The DK Metcalf trade, when they made it, I thought was going to make them better, but then they went and traded Pickens.
Yeah, it canceled it out basically.
Yeah, I didn't get it, and then they let Najee walk. They haven't upgraded there. They added Kenny Gainwell, I think, from Philadelphia, who's a good third down guy. Jalen Warren, he's a scat back. He seems to get hurt quite a bit. They put a lot of money into that defense. They put too much money and resources into that defense, and it's hurt them on their O-line. Mike Tomlin never had a losing season unless you look at his postseason record, but nobody ever brings that up. This might be it. This might be his 5-12 season.
No. Definitely the worst one he's had in a while. Worst roster he's had in a while.
I still believe Aaron Rodgers might have one more in him. I don't know.
Well, what if it's Mason Rudolph?
Well, he did make the playoffs with Mason Rudolph a couple of years ago, didn't he?
Did they make it that year? I thought it was came down to the last week and they didn't.
That could be. Either way, that was the year I started to become really impressed with Mike Tomlin.
The year they rotated not Aaron Rodgers, Mason Rudolph and Duck Hodges at quarterback.
Good Lord.
That's right. I've completely forgot that name. And went over 500. Nuts.
We didn't really talk about who did the Chiefs get on Earth Day this year?
Week 16. I skipped week 16. Thursday night's the Rams and Seahawks. Sunday night, the Bengals and Dolphins. Man, the Dolphins are on a lot of primetime games. And Monday night, the Colts' only primetime game against the 49ers, so maybe even a game they can win. And then apparently the Chiefs are playing on Earth Day.
Earth Day, Flag Day. Cinco de Mayo.
What? And then the final two primetime games that we know are the Bears and 49ers. Then on Monday Night Football, the Rams and Falcons. Week 18 will be determined after Week 17. No Thursday night game that week, no Monday night game that week, but they will play 2 games on Saturday and 14 games on Sunday. We've been doing this for 90 minutes. Anything we possibly missed?
Well, I do find it interesting that they put one primetime game for every one of Tyreek's children's for the Dolphins this year.
Yeah. Wow, look at that.
The Dolphins are going to go 0-5 in primetime this year, I think.
They play horrible in prime time, so probably.
Halftime of the Bills game, Maury Povich is going to decide if who Tyreek's the father of. Taylor Swift, we haven't talked about her yet. Apparently, she's dating an NFL player, which is
When did that happen?
last week, I think.
Wow.
They've been keeping it pretty low profile.
Yeah, slightly.
Thanks so much, guys. This was a lot of fun. I wish I'd been better organized, but it still turned out good. No one in my life has ever made me laugh more than Mike Hutsell does. Man, that guy is funny. Thanks so much to Mike and Eli and Will Rutherford for joining the Central Indiana Sports Report. And thank you for listening. If you want to help us out, please share these podcasts with your friends and family. Thank you. The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media. And I love Susie.